am beyond excited to share this recipe and video with you today. Not only because it's a beautiful piece of beef tenderloin that presents and is sure to impress any guest that you might have for dinner, but also because as someone who started cooking later in life, this would not be something that I would have attempted without the confidence of knowing step by step how to do it. Spending this kind of money on a very high quality piece of beef and then having so much fear that I would screw it up or overcook it or set something on fire, like it just wouldn't have happened. And I can tell you to date, this beef tenderloin cook is the best piece of meat I have ever cooked in the best method I have ever tried. So follow along with me. I'm gonna take you through all the little details of exactly what I did and exactly the tools I used in order to have this just incredible dish. So the first thing I did is that I had a really nice big long piece of beef tenderloin. I cut it in half because I'm kind of going for that Chateaubriand method and presentation of cooking for this. So I have two nice big pieces, and you'll see why I want them into those smaller pieces because of the tools that I am using to cook it. So I'm getting a wire rack and I'm putting those two pieces of my beef tenderloin on there and just rubbing in salt and pepper all over it. Not too much, just enough to give it a nice seasoning and give it a nice rub. I'm gonna preheat my oven to 275 degrees. It's very low. And after reading online how long, what temperature, all the different types of methods of cooking this, the only way you really figure it out with your oven is by doing it. So I pulled it out after 35 minutes and it was only at 100 degrees. So I put it back in and it ended up taking almost 50 minutes for it to get to the temperature that I wanted. And now because ovens vary and the thickness of your tenderloin might be different than mine, one of the best investments and best tools you can have in your kitchen is a meat thermometer. This is what gives me the confidence to cook roasts and meats and tenderloins and steaks all the time now when it was something that I was scared to do before. So get a meat thermometer. It will definitely give you a little bit more of that confidence to know, is it time to pull it out? Is it time to take it in? Is it time to give it more time? Whatever that is, get a meat thermometer. The next step is important because we need to take those pieces of cuts out and let them rest. Resting meat is a really big deal. I'm sure that you see it and hear about it in so many recipes when cooking any cuts of meat, but we're gonna let this rest. It's hard to sort of go, oh, well, now what do I do? Just sit and stare at it for 8 to 10 minutes? No. This is a great time for you now to crank the temperature up on your oven and throw in some roasted vegetables, some potatoes, make your side dish so that you're kind of double dutying it for when you want to present this and you're not just making the meat. Side dishes are just as important, my friends. Once you've let that rest, it is time to finish cooking our beef tenderloins. And you'll see now that the reason that I needed to cut them into two pieces is because we're doing the reverse sear method. And now that I have that internal temperature where I want it for the next process, we are going to get our frying pan up to high heat. We're gonna also add in a dollop of butter and let that start browning and getting warm because we are gonna give it a nice hot sear on all sides of these pieces of beautiful beef tenderloin. I am using salted butter, so I do not need to add any more salt or seasoning in that case, but I am gonna throw in a giant clove of garlic that I've cut up into a couple pieces and a piece of rosemary in there for some aromatics. Now take your time with this process. You do want about 3 minutes or so on all of the sides. And yes, I know it's round, it doesn't have sides, but you want to just make sure that you hit all of the different parts of your tenderloin here. I even turn it on to its top and bottom to I'm really good at words, I promise. I sear the edges as well, just to make sure that everything gets locked in and all those juices stay in. And again, if you aren't sure what the doneness is just by touching it and kind of feeling that it's gonna be that rare to medium rare, then get that thermometer out and check your internal temperature. This is where you get to have your preference. If you want it a little closer to medium rare, you can let it sit there for a little bit longer, a couple more minutes. But what I want is about 135 to 140 before I pull it off, and again, let it rest. 8 to 10 minutes of zero touching. This is a good time to go get those roasted vegetables and potatoes, give them a little toss, make sure that they're almost ready too. Now that everything has come together, you can take those beautiful tenderloins and just put them on your platter, whatever kind of nice plate you might have. Get your roasted vegetables and potatoes on there as well and bring it to the table. Now, I absolutely think that slicing this is the most exciting part of the recipe. It makes my mouth water. It makes me feel so good when it turns out perfectly. So what I like to do is I actually like to slice it in the kitchen on a cutting board after it's rested, then lay out all those beautiful medallions onto the platter and give it a little bit of a flaked salt finish. Then bring it to the table and everybody can go ooh, ah, and then eat it. Because that's the best part. Eating it is the best part. If this doesn't impress the beef lovers in your life, then I don't know what will. I'm kidding. It will impress everybody. I hope you enjoyed the step-by-step of the reverse sear method of cooking a beef tenderloin. I hope that you try it at home if you are like me, where once upon a time I was super scared to do a recipe like this. Please give it a try. Follow the steps. Use a thermometer. Don't be afraid. Beef tenderloin is delicious. Thank you so much for coming to the Silly Kitchen again. I hope you hit that subscribe button and visit me again soon. Till next time.